Hello everybody, I'm excited to be back for this video. Thank you all for stopping in. This is the second concert review video of this year. Concert season's begun, and this was supposed to be my first concert of the year, but it was postponed the day before New Year's Eve, and just due to COVID cases in the area and that sort of thing. But the group I'm talking about, of course, is the Avett brothers. I was fortunate enough to see the Avetts down in Greensboro, North Carolina, yesterday, March 19th. And it was, again, supposed to be their December the 31st New Year's special. They always do a North Carolina gig on New Year's Eve. I've never been, and it just didn't work out this time. But they were sure to give us a show that made up for lost time. Now, if you don't know the Avett brothers, they're, of course, made up of Seth and Scott Avett, being the two brothers. Then they have bass player Bob Crawford and cellist Joe Kwan, as well as a band that's been with them for probably about 8 years in its current configuration. They actually have their sister Bonnie on keyboards and background vocals as well. Now, the show was at the Greensboro Coliseum, just a couple hours from me, and the show started. The opener started at 8:15. At 8 o'clock. The Avetts came out at 9:15. The opener was a songwriter by the name of David Childers. David is a longtime mentor and hero of the Avett brothers. They've been covering his songs on and off now, really since their conception. And I know that they were telling stories about David Childers, and he even came out midway through the show and sang the song "The Prettiest Thing" with the band, and played harmonica on the piece as well. It's one of his songs that the Avetts have been covering for years and years during their sets. So it was cool to see them do it with the songwriter. Let me just jump right in, I guess. Again, the show started at 8 o'clock, pretty much on the nose. I got there probably I was in my seat around 7:40, but I got in there about 20 after 7 in the parking lot and just kind of lingered, looked at the merch, doing the things that you do before a concert, checking out the concession stands, things like that. Got there, and the opener, killer set by David Childers. He played until probably about 10 till 9. So he put on a good 50-minute show, and he tore the house down. I'm trying to think of who he would be described as. Obviously he influenced the Avett brothers, but he was a little bit rockier than the Avetts, more in lines with I don't know, the instruments in the band were more like, I don't know, maybe the music was more like Jason Isbell maybe. But he's an older gentleman. He's in his 60s probably. But his voice was a little bit rough, kind of along the lines of maybe a Merle Haggard type is maybe who I'm comparing him to, but with a rockier edge. And he played with his band, The Serpents, which included his son on the drums. And man, they tore it down. They opened with the song "Run Skeleton Run," just a rockin' song. They did a bunch of his songs. They did a cover of "Joshua Fit the Battle of Jericho," the old spiritual song, and they completely revamped it. It was rock and roll, and man, it was good. It was top 3 favorite openers I've ever seen, and I've seen some good openers. Everybody from from Marty Stewart to Jackson Brown, so I've seen some good openers, and this one, he was right up in that caliber. Really good. Check out David Childers if you don't know him. All right, now let me get into the meat and potatoes of the concert. Avett brothers came out at 9:15. They opened with their song "The Fall," which is kind of fitting because the lyrics are, and we all fall down. They kind of repeat that over and over, and it kind of makes sense because we all kind of fell when the show was postponed back in December. But when they came out, it was so joyous. Scott was playing the harmonica. The harmony between the two of them is fantastic. The only kind of harmony you can get with two brothers that sing. We all know this. Everybody from the Everly Brothers to for me like the cactus blossoms. So Avett's really, I mean, they came out strong. They went right into Go to Sleep, which is one of my favorite songs off of Emotionalism. The original song has a third singer named Paleface on it, but he wasn't there that night. And it started because the fall ended, and then they go right into this cello opener with Joe Kwan, who was seated in a chair the whole time. He's been recovering from an injury that he sustained a little while ago, so he was in a chair most of the night. But he started playing this cello, the no 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 no, and so the whole audience is singing along because during the song, when that music starts, the chorus is kind of, you know, you're kind of going la da 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 da, and so like the Avett brothers are encouraging everybody to sing. And keep in mind, we're in North Carolina. The Avett brothers are from North Carolina, so as soon as they came out during the fall, the whole place just stood up. And I mean, I stood up for probably 95% of the show, with the exception of a couple of ballads toward the end. I was standing up on my feet the entire time, and I wasn't even on the floor. So they went right into Go to Sleep, and then they just boom right into Head Full of Doubt, Road Full of Promise from I Am Loving You, which y'all would probably know if you heard the song. I think it's on a commercial right now. Again, another great string section. So you have Joe Kwan on the cello, and then you have fiddle player Tanya Elizabeth playing the counter melody on the fiddle. And so, you know, it's just the build up of a song. And that one I kind of felt a little emotional during it, just because it was such a powerful segue from those three songs, boom, 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 into one another. And, you know, the lyrics of this song, you know, are, there was a dream, and one day I would see it, like a bird in a cage I broke in and demanded that somebody free it. There was a kid with a head full of doubt, so I screamed till I died, and the last of those bad. So I screamed till I died, and the last of those bad. Wow, I completely forgot the words. There was a kid with a head full of doubt, so I screamed till I died, and the last of those bad voices are finally out. And it's just so good. Great mix of old stuff and new stuff. They didn't sing a single song from their most recent EP, the third Gleam, which came out in 2020. They didn't do any songs, but they did songs from their last full-length studio album. They did the song Bleeding White, which came right after they did their song At the Beach, which is just a really fun summery song with a nice whistle from Seth. He's going like do 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 do, and he's got this shaker, and it's just really fun and joyful, almost maybe kind of Grateful Dead like ish maybe. And so they did that. They sing the song Who Will I Hold from the Closer Than Together, and I mean they knocked out all the songs. They did a beautiful version Seth did solo of one of my favorite songs. I do it on my live streams all the time. It's called The Ballad of Love and Hate. Beautiful song. It was just Seth on his guitar. And again, the cool thing about the Avetts is they don't do the same show twice. So it's not, this isn't their set list for the tour. So, you know, I think they're playing in a couple more days. It's not going to be the same show. So Seth did that acoustic. A little bit later on, Scott came out and did his big song, Murder in the City, which is another big one that I do. I mean, they sang I Am Loving You, which is the title track from their 2009 album that they did with Rick Rubin. They sang Morning Song, which is one of my absolute favorite. It's a beautiful song. It's always an emotional song for me. They did songs like The Clearness Is Gone. They sang Talk on Indolence. Gosh, what else did they say? They ended up doing 30 songs because at one point Scott said, you know, we're going to do a few extra songs for y'all that we don't normally do because, you know, under normal circumstances, we would have been there till well after midnight. We would have done a countdown with them and then done an encore. And speaking of encore, when they came back out, they've ended the set, the main set, with the song Geraldine, which is a really short song from the Magpie and the Dandelion album. And another song that they did prior to the encore was the song Rejects in the Attic, which is it was a bonus track on the True Sadness album, but it was a song that was older. I think it dated back to like at least 2014. If you saw the May It Last documentary that Judd Apatow did, you would know that song quite well. It's a beautiful song. Their dad is watching them when they sing it. And again, like I said, they had David Childers come out. He did The Prettiest Thing with them. Beautiful version of that. They did a couple of instrumentals, including Old Joe Clark, Black Mountain Rag. They did that song, and so then they came out for the encore after Geraldine, and it was cool because while everybody was waiting for the encore, everybody turned the flashlights on their phones and were waving them, and so I got a good picture of all the flashes on these phones. And thankfully, unlike Gordon Lightfoot, the crowd around me was really cool. And it was cool because the whole place is singing all the songs. Like, you're on your feet singing with everybody. It's fantastic. And then the encore comes out. They do one of my favorite ballads, beautiful ballad called Salvation Song. Just a really pretty song. It's one of their older ones. They also then went into one of the newer tracks from the True Sadness album, Ain't No Man, which is pretty standard for them these days. Last time I saw them in 2019, they did Ain't No Man around this time. And it's really just Bob Crawford on the bass and then the drummer hitting the drums. So you got this great bass line like, boom, 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 boom. It's just the whole song. And they go from Ain't No Man, and then they do one of the most pretty songs that they have ever written called No Hard Feelings. Seth wrote it. He had a divorce back in 2017, 2016-ish, and it was a song that he wrote out of that sadness. And beautiful song. That's kind of that song is pretty standard for them to close with, even though they do this different show every night. They're probably going to close with True Sadness, unless they're doing the same venue like 3 nights in a row, in which case they wouldn't. But if they're going from town to town, they're probably going to play they're probably going to play No Hard Feelings at the end. So we got out of there around 5 till 12. So we were almost there till midnight. And I'm still on the high from the concert. I've been listening to Avett Brothers prior, and then since it's been in my head. One of the best shows I've ever seen. It was killer. I mean, the song flow was so good. The band was tight. Scott and Seth sounded great. David Childers really got me pumped up for the show. He was just so good. And I was saying after the show, Avett Brothers are one of those groups that once you see them, as soon as you're done with the concert, you're ready for the next one. You're like, where are they coming again? I want to go see them again. So there you have it. I know Avett Brothers don't have a huge fan base in the YouTube world, but that's okay. I just wanted to add to my concert series. I know a few of y'all out there really like the Avett Brothers, so I kind of did this for y'all too, just so y'all could see. And I've talked to people through Facebook, and now I have an Instagram, so please check me out on Instagram now. I think I'm probably going to keep that mostly for music related postings. So that's going to probably be my Instagram page for my YouTube friends. So check it out. I appreciate y'all watching. See the Avett Brothers. Listen to the Avett Brothers. If you don't want to go see them live, listen to their music. It's fantastic. Thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to y'all really soon. I've got a couple ideas swimming around up there. So take care.